What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Side Eye. I am Uptown Bobby,
And I'm K Clark.
and you are back. Welcome. It's a pretty interesting start to the show. This episode is being recorded November 6th, 2024. This is the day after Election Day. It's the day after the 2024 presidential election. And Donald Trump is once again president of the United States, and very odd fashion. I can't believe this is like one of the weirdest comeback stories ever. Um, in modern times, politically, it feels like something from the past, as far as like all the things he quote unquote overcame to get back here. But here we are. Donald Trump is currently the president of the United States, or soon to be president of the United States. Um, come inauguration. So I guess just to get the get it out the way and address the elephant in the room, uh, we had a few episodes during this election cycle. Um, we both spoke about the candidates involved, more so about the Democratic ticket, and things went the way they were supposed to go, I guess. What are your thoughts? Because I know we pretty much came from a perspective of like really doesn't. Well, I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter who wins, but the the winner there were no real winners in this. Is what where we were pretty much coming from. So
Right.
now that there is a winner, overall, what were your initial thoughts and impressions, and how do you feel today?
Well, I was kind of ready for either outcome. Obviously, of the two, I would prefer the Kamala had won. Out of those, out of that scenario. But I was also prepared for this scenario. Just has had kind of an intuitive feeling going into the last couple of weeks. With the rallies and with you had Beyonce and Kelly and Cardi B and Jennifer Lopez and Fat Joe and just the amount of like celebrity and Michelle Obama and Obama's and the shifting tone to almost it's like, finger pointing, finger wagging tone to vote to voters and things like that. It had an air of like desperation to it. Like they weren't telling us the full picture, like how bad it was, how close it was behind the scenes. But I could feel some flailing going on. That it wasn't quite as
Hmm.
in as to me. It wasn't quite as in the bag as it was as they was saying it was or trying to project it to be. Um, and then also the fact that I try not to pay attention to the polls because like one poll was saying, "Oh, she's surging, oh, she's behind." So at one point, and most I guess you could say sensible polls that had them in a dead heat. Um, and so I kind of took it from there. I figured it would be close in terms of like I figured she would win the popular vote, and then it would be like super tight as far as the electoral college, and that would be like the nail biter. But I didn't expect him to win the popular vote. That was surprising, decisively. Like it was,
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
that was a surprise. Um, and and also that also for anybody who wants to clutch the chucks and pearls, that is not due to third party voters, that not due to Jill Stein simply. Even if every third party voter had gone to Kamala, she still would have lost popular vote. So let's not uh play that blame game as far as like they did in 2016 with Jill Stein specifically, or with third party voters in general. As far as what I see, it's for what I've seen at least, in the states that Trump won and Kamala lost, even if people vote, it was a wide gap. Like say like Kamala lost by like a million, and like I think it was in Florida, and Jill Stein got like 40,000 votes. So it's like it's not that's not really the math is a math for to say that third party voters cost her the election. Um, yeah, that was a surprise that he took the popular vote, and what that says to me is that this was a people spoke and made their voices heard, not in the way that I would like, but they did, And so, that's really fucking depressing. Even though, like I said, I wouldn't have been 100% happy with a Kamala win for various reasons, but obviously that would have been a very preferable alternative to what we got now. Um, and it just people. I mean, people getting what people. But the thing I kept saying to myself in my head is that people gonna get what they voted for. They're gonna get what they wanted or what they thought they wanted. That's all I can think. Over these next months and then 4 years, as things start to roll out. I mean, you can't say you weren't told and that you weren't warned, and but this is what you wanted and this is what you voted for. So this is what it's happening. And of course,
Mm.
I'm saying that literally less than 24 hours after the election. The, of course, uh, find community, organize how you can, resist how you can, find ways to, uh, find support, emotional support, financial support, physical support. All that's going to be very important. It's always important, but especially important going forward. But in this moment, I mean, honestly, I'm just like, I kind of feel like all I want to do is dress and rest, to quote Jesse from Poetic Justice.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you 100%. Um, I share some of the similar sentiments. This is this is what it is, you know. I never thought that this would end the way everybody that there was going to be no winners and there was going to be some disappointments all across the board, right? And I thought that maybe she could pull it off. The closer we got to the end, I was like, maybe she could do it because for some reason, to me, it felt like the Trump side kind of got quiet, and I guess I was mistaken that quietness for like just preparing for the outcome. And I'm shocked at her losing the popular vote as well. Granted, I probably shouldn't be since even with her, like even within the Democratic base, there was divisiveness, right? And outside of that base, you had people not wanting to participate because they didn't like either party. So her losing isn't far-fetched. It's just looking at that map and seeing so much red, it's kind of like, damn, we really are a minority.
Mm.
Especially when you start looking at the exit polls. And I hope black people are smart enough to avoid the bickering in house about who didn't vote and who did vote, especially between the genders, because she outright won the black vote unanimously. She won, obviously, the black women, and she even won the black man. I know people like to talk about, oh, it's an increase in Trump, but it was only 20%, and it wasn't enough to in any. I don't know the actual math, but I'm quite certain that the 20% was probably in areas where he was going to win anyway. And then when it comes to black male voters, and also when you break down the math of the states that he won that people thought would go blue, uh, the majority of black populated areas won, ended up going blue. Like for Georgia, Atlanta was blue, Athens was blue, Augusta was blue. With Michigan, Detroit was blue, Lansing was blue, Flint was blue. So that just goes to show you that I'm not gonna say record numbers, but a huge number of white people voted for Donald Trump, obviously. And when you have elections like this, the way this system is set up, when people participate, the states show the math, and Donald Trump had his base come out, and it just goes to show you. And I know people ponder this. I even ponder this, but when you see these numbers, even though we know a good bit amount of people probably didn't participate in the election, it's still jarring to see how small of a demographic we make up, even participating in this election of like percentages, right? Like
Mhm.
I think between black men and black women, we were probably like 13, less than 20% of the actual votes. which is shocking when you think about it. Everyday life, you see black people everywhere, you know, and then you think about the black people you saw donate all that money to Kamala, and you know all the rah rah rah, the rallies with people twerking, dancing, pop locking, blah blah blah, and then you're like, damn, you know, we we really just we kind of still like don't have enough of us, even as active participants, really making a difference. And I don't really have the skies falling mindset right now because I mean, since honestly 2016, I've been pretty indifferent towards politics because I participate, but I know that the system wasn't created for us to win, quote unquote, anyway, you know. You take your wins in small amounts, like, you know, certain programs or certain things that exist that support your people and yourself, but there's no real victory with this because even before Donald Trump being in office, after Trump in office, people are still barely surviving. You know, people are living with each other. People are having to, you know, depend on public transit, depend on other people to provide transportation. People are working multiple jobs. You know, it's hard out here. Not everyone has health care. So no matter who was in office, this life is hard as fuck. So when you kind of have that mindset or you accept that reality, then it's kind of hard to have a doom and gloom outlook when every day just surviving, no matter who's in office, feels like doom and gloom, or just if it just feels hard.
Yeah, I will caveat it just that I won't criticism of Kamala aside. Obviously Trump is demonstrably worse, in terms of and it's sort of accelerating the shittiness of you know the non-rich folks in America in terms of quality of life. Um, but yeah, I do think that there's just I guess you call it apathy amongst folks because a lot of people even a lot of people just some folks just stayed home, they didn't vote at all, like you said. um and then other people um they voted out of spite in terms of voting for Trump. um some folks obviously can't ignore the fact that sexism played a role. Racism played a role in terms of some people that want to vote for Kamala. There's also that. uh is also the perception that that Biden and Kamala were bailing the economy, uh, and that they were the reason behind uh this sort of current economic moment with the high inflation, things like that. And people point to Trump as like when things were good, but I mean, what they leave out was that he inherited a good economy, and then low key fucked it up. uh, so it's I wouldn't go so far to say they're exactly the same because they're not. Uh, but is things still would have been problems. So still definitely would have been problems on the combo. It would have been a different type of battle. I'd say that's what I guess is what I'm getting at. Is that with Trump, the battle is obvious and clear. It's easy for people to sort of see what the quote unquote greater evil is. You want to argue that point. He's clearly he's made his intentions known, what he wants to do and how he wants to do it, um, and will do it. Um, but Kamala, I think, in her administration, has she won, it still would have been an issue in terms of the things like state violence against protesters and top cities, and working class people not feeling like they can get their basic needs met. But that would have been
Right.
hard to I think
Immigration.
yeah, it would. I think it would have been hard for people to see that because you would have the whole pageantry over her being the first, and you know, black excellence and all that stuff. You would have to get through, push through more of that idea. People just to point out that yeah, It looks nice, but things ain't good. Things still aren't necessarily great. You know, with Trump, obviously it's more obvious because there's no mask or there's no pretense. So I guess that would be the main difference, you know.
Right. And I agree with you in that regard as well. Something that's also interesting is the two different strategies of both sides, right? Trump knew his base, and the only difference this time was he got the right kind of support. He got like, and this is what I told someone earlier today about the other side. The people who don't support Trump, who don't want to see him in power, they have to get more aggressive with standing up to the people that support him. And when I say this, it might be a bit much, but hear me out. Like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has been Trump's biggest supporter this whole political cycle, this election cycle. And it's something that's weird because he bought Twitter outright. And at first he bought Twitter pretty much for business purposes, but then he kind of made it seem like he had a more noble cause to it. He wanted to protect the First Amendment because he felt that silencing Donald Trump was wrong. And then that was, in a way, an endorsement in itself. And once he took over the app, it changed for the worse. And I haven't been on the app. I deleted the app in 2019 because I just was tired of it. I just grew bored with the conversation and bored with the users. But he somehow made it worse than what it was before by enabling people who were blocked and banned to still exist. Um, certain people can be now certified with like the check mark by paying a fee. So that kind of like creates this weird ecosystem of people who think they're better than other people on the app because they have just a check mark. He allowed people to have hate speech, you know, unwarranted hate speech, and that went out with any punishment. So that in itself was a political tool. He weaponized that app to pretty much allow that base to spread misinformation, to collect and gather, and just be another thing that helps Trump continue to grow his base and give them more of a platform. So I think, and people will probably say that, well, that's unfair to tell people to leave an app that they've been on. But why is it unfair to tell someone to leave an app when this man is outwardly racist? Like, I know there's no such thing as ethical consumption, but when you go to Kroger's, you don't see the face of the people who run Kroger's. You don't even hear them talk. You don't know what these people sound like. They don't. They're smart enough not to say racist, inflammatory shit. But Elon Musk will tell you outright, "I don't fuck with you. I don't like you. I don't like what you represent. I'm in this for me. This is my world." Like he's outwardly telling you that he does not like what you represent, what you stand for, whatever. Yeah, people still want to go on the app and still kiki, ha ha, all that. It's time to mobilize. It's time to disabandon things that you outwardly know that serve you no good. And Trump had that in his pocket. Trump had Joe Rogan. And I know Joe Rogan endorsing Donald Trump isn't surprising, but it's the fact that Joe Rogan is in the ear of hundreds and thousands of people who voted for Donald Trump, especially Gen Z white males. And as we look at the exit polls, we see that white men were pretty much the majority of Donald Trump voters. So I'm looking at these things and I'm seeing how strategic they were surrounding Donald Trump this time. Even someone like a Theo Vaughn. And on the other side, I just see people pretty much like, I don't want to use the word pander, but using the same blueprint, pretty much like the Obama and the Clintons, of getting, celebrities who lean one way and really don't have as much power as Elon Musk, but they have like, an image or something. They have a fan base and they parade them out, be like, okay, say do your routine and then, whatever. and you also kind of shun a working class group of people, uh, the Hispanics and the white blue wall people of like the Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan areas who feel like, well, you don't really fuck with us. You don't really represent us because you're more concerned about middle class, upward bound people. You don't really care about the working class, everyday person. So I'm just interested to see how these two parties move forward. One side moves forward right now with their chest out because they have the power. Then the other side is a bit defeated because they lost. And I'm also wondering who would they pick next? I don't think they pick another woman. They probably end up picking what's that guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name at the moment, but they'll probably pick a man,
Gavin
and more
Newsom.
than likely, Gavin, that's the California governor, right?
Mm.
Yeah, perhaps him, maybe a woman VP. But it's interesting to see if they'll learn anything from this election as far as working class people representing them. Uh, I guess representing white people, white working class, white rural working class people more, and also uh, people who probably set out this election for reasons dealing with Gaza and Israel. Um, so it's interesting to see what happens after this. I'm
But
not sure if they recover, but you kind of wonder
uh,
what do they do next.
I was a few things in terms of like reaching out to the type of like those sort of like I guess call it moderate or like you call it blue state white folks. You said, I mean that's kind of what Tim Walz was supposed to do. You know,
Right, he was supposed to do
Tim
that.
Walz was like the football coach who kind of spoke who spoke
Coach,
straightforward. No, but he you know when he was on,
he was
especially
he was like her Joe Biden kind of.
especially at the rallies. I mean, he really spoke their language and he's really touted some progressive things like free school lunch for kids in a way that was very like matter of fact to the point. Like, we provide free lunch for kids. Why is that bad? I mean that, you know, uh, so they had a bit of that, and I think I think that it worked initially, but then you also had her campaign with Liz Cheney and Chowden being embraced by Dick Cheney, and talking about how the United States would be most lethal force in the world when everybody's seeing a live stream genocide. That those things maybe I don't think those were as fatal a flaw as the economy bit, but they probably didn't help, you know and also with the Latino vote, low key. I mean, not everyone was Latino, but I do think there are more than a few Latinos, particularly white, uh, presenting Latinos that basically want to be white, and that's why they vote for Trump. The Ted Cruz's of the world that go by Ted instead of Raphael. They want to change their name from Hernandez to Harris. They vote Republican because they want to assimilate, or they see that they almost they're close, they can taste it, and so they want to grab that carrot. I think that's a factor that shouldn't be overlooked. Not all,
No, that's
because there
right.
are plenty of Hispanics who vote blue, but like there is a strong contingent that is staunchly you know Republican because they see that as they see themselves as not being part of like a minority.
Right.
They see an opportunity to assimilate the way that the Italians and the Irish did eventually, but so there's that too. Moving forward, who knows? Because you know, 2016, they lost and with Hillary, and then they ran Joe, and they managed to win with Joe, but then I don't know. I mean, her, like I said, not amongst a political analyst, I can't pretend to know exactly what they need to do to turn things around. I would say, ideally, maybe less moving to the right and more trying to, really create a coalition amongst the people who are your ride or dies, which is black folks, progressive young folks, um, women, uh, particularly black women, because white women wishy washy. Just saying. Uh, uh, Speaking to black men in a way that's not finger wagging. Uh, LGBTQ plus folks, particularly those of us who are not rich because of rich white queens, they're gonna go to the log cabin Republicans, which is a whole other topic. Um, you know, that's an option ideally, like ideally it's an option, but because I just don't think you're gonna outright the right in terms of being
I
able to
mean,
try in terms of
you're
trying
right in this
in terms
election.
of trying to appeal to those conservative, moderate leaning suburban white folks or white women. I mean, as they have shown, for the most part, if they unless they are really like invested in their own autonomy as women or whatever, they're not gonna their race is gonna trump their gender. Or at least it has the past couple elections. It just
And I think
has.
the misinformation war was different this time. Last time we had, the bots on social media, but I think this time it was a combination of the Theo Vons, the Joe Rogans, the Twitter co-op, and also the ads. Like Donald Trump reduced Kamala Harris's whole campaign to she is going to use your tax money to let people in prison get sex changes. Like these are ads that were running on prime
And
time TV.
and the Haitian, you know,
And the
right.
Haitians eating,
Xenophobia, yeah.
yeah, the xenophobia. Like these are prime time ads running. Like I would be watching football games and this shit would be on. So when you
Mhm.
have that deep rooted um propaganda on a constant loop, and then you pair that with the Joe Rogans and the Red Pill Bros, and it's a recipe for somebody like I don't know some rural white person to just put a battery in their back and continue to support Donald Trump and his ilk because uh, I want a better economy and I don't want my money going towards no transgenders, etc. It's just almost sad, but that's just the reality of what that side does and how the people think. But like you said, you can't outright the right and you can't outwhite the right. Like those white people, like Van Jones said in 2016, this was another white lashing. Like it was just white people showing up and really showing out. And I know there was a huge amount of black people, well, not black people, but people who didn't participate this year compared to 2020. At least that's what the numbers show early. But I mean, you have to look at the active participants, and that kind of told the story. So I'm not going to waste time talking about what could have been with third party votes or what could have been if this many people did it. The reality is the numbers are the numbers, and Kamala didn't win, and Donald Trump is president. So at best, I think we just have to move forward with the results and hope for the best as a community.
Well, I guess I would say that if there's a silver lining of a few, I know in some states abortion was enshrined as law. In some states, I can't think of the states off the top of my head, but that's
I know New York for sure.
that's some positive news. And then also here in Louisiana, Constitutional Amendment 1 was voted yes on, which can impact the coastal restoration and that environmentally that's good. So there's that. We got our new district with a black representation, so that's Cleo Fields. So that's some positive news on the state level. Um, uh, Beyond that, this is a possible reaction in the next say 2 years. It's possible that once the Project 2025 and the plans continue to roll out over these let's say next year, 2 years, it could be so horrible that people realize there's something. At least some people realize what they actually voted for, and the Democrats can use that to say, see, we trying to tell y'all, and then that could possibly lead to a blue wave come midterms in 2026, possibly. That could be one thing that happens. Um, but you got some. Do I think the folks, particularly some of the white folks, vote for him that are going to suffer under these policies are going to have a change of heart? No, I mean some of them will, but not
No,
all of them, because it don't
right.
matter because the cruelty, someone said, is the point for some of them. it don't matter if I'm suffering as long as the niggas suffer or the immigrants suffering or those trans folks are suffering or whoever, you know, which is a really fucked up way to think, but that's how white supremacy works. you know,
Right.
as long as I got my little bit of power stats over these other folks, then I'm good. You know, not as good as the folks who are using you, but you get the illusion of being good. Um, even though you're not good. So yeah. uh, I guess again, obviously, like I said, we're recording this less than 24 hours after the election happened. I'm sure that many folks online, I've seen folks online, in various states. Some folks are angry, rightfully so. Some are despairing, rightfully so. Some are saying, just take a beat, rest, and then get back to the work. All those, in my opinion, are valid responses. Um, you know, it can seem enormous and hopeless right now. And what I would advise is just that, you think about who you are and where you live and what ways that you feel like you can give back or get involved and try to do that. Try to find or double down on connecting with folks who are like-minded, uh, like yourself, and try to, do what you can to protect or and create like a space or in your community, even if it's just a social space. Um, that's what I would have to say.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Uh, just look after your people, look after yourself. Um, Continue to really, really care about what happens in your area, your neighborhood, your city. Still participate in your local elections. If you choose not to participate in local elections, at least ingrain yourself in your community. Help each other, barter, um, grow things. Just take care of each other for the most part,
Mm.
because no one's coming to save us.
Mm.
Moving on to the what was the original
No.
set piece of this episode. Uh, Tyler the Creator dropped a new album, and it's been an interesting response to it. What I guess I just asked what did you think about it so far? And
uh,
and what did you think about it and where did you rank it in his catalog?
well, I listened to it all the way through twice initially. Then I listened to it again the other day. Overall, it's definitely like a journey of album. So, actually, a YouTuber I follow, SAS I follow called Little Bill. He's posted a status saying it was basically like he thought of it as like this morale for middle class kids, and that kind of fits when you think about it, because
Really?
in a way, because just in terms of like the themes of the album, because the themes of the album, at least that occur to me, is like uh, parents and cycles of like uh child parent relationships. He struggled. Because his mom is featured pretty prominently on the
Yeah.
album.
She's
And
almost
then
like the interlude
right,
transitions.
she talks about she gives him advice about women, and she also talks about at one point she like apologizes about like keeping away from his dad when he was younger, he was a kid. And we have Tyler reflecting on, do I want to have children? Do I want to have children? Am I ready to have children? There's a whole story. I believe it's which one is it? I think Hey Jane, where he goes through like, he's saying his perspectives
Oh
from
yeah.
the woman who's pregnant to him, say, are you ready? I'm not ready. So it's a big theme in the album of like, fatherhood and what it means, what it doesn't mean, and what it's meant to him, the lack of a fatherly presence, to him wanting to him weighing where he wants to be a father himself. So those are similar things to this morale, but this it's not the same level of darkness as Mr. Morale.
No, it's
There's,
not.
there's, there's no mother there's no mother sober on this album. So I get what he was saying by that, in the sense that these are weighty, but they're not like do or die necessarily in the same way that Kendrick's album felt like. It's not. It's
Right.
not. I didn't feel. provoked or uncomfortable listening to this album like I did to Mr. Morale. Like Mr. Morale's album, I got to be in a certain like let me gird my loins if I put this on. I didn't feel like that with this album. Um, it's definitely not as compared to Call Me When You Get Lost. It's not as many like bangers, for like a better word. I mean, you got a few. You got like
There's a
Ratata.
few on there.
You got
Sticky,
Ratata. You got Sticky. What's the other?
Noid.
Noid, and you got what's the other one? Thought I Was Dead. So so you got a few on there, but it's a smoother album overall. Um, as far as Bob ranking in his catalog, I don't know if I'm qualified to say that because I really haven't gotten into. I got into Tyler like maybe in the last 2 years or so. Like I didn't listen to his Goblin or the initial stuff. I just I remember my boyfriend at the time. You listen to it sometimes, a few songs from that, but I just was really wasn't into it. I mean, I could appreciate some of the some of the chaotic interviews that he would give or things like that, but some of the stuff like some of the song type, some of the subject matter, the lyrics and things like that, I'm just like, I'm good. I was more into Frank. I just was. Um, I really didn't start to come around more until I heard a little bit from Flower Boy, and that seemed interesting. And then I like Igor was like, what's that wig about? Like I started kind of keying a little bit more, and they really didn't start to listen a lot until Call Me When You Get Lost. Call Me If You Get Lost. That's the first one I really listen to from front to back, and then this one. So I can't really rank it amongst his full catalog because I've listed all of his catalog. But it's definitely he definitely seems to have evolved or in more than from when he first started. I mean, he was a teenager when he first came out, so. Uh, and now he's like 33, I think, early 30s. So he definitely has evolved in some ways. He still got a little bit of that, don't give a fuck attitude. Uh, uh, but it's been interesting. It's been interesting to watch his evolution. I'd say that, even though I know it's still thorny for some folks to kind of square who he is now with who he for what he used to be about, back when he first came out.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I
What about you?
absolutely agree. I like it. I liked it. I think it's a good addition to his catalog. I don't, I get I guess I get the Mr. Morel thing, but it's kind of lazy take because
Well,
to
it was like a
me,
one off. It was like a quick, like it wasn't like a
yeah, it's a
he
bit,
because
yeah.
the first time he really liked the album, but he kind of referred to it as that. I could kind of see what he was getting at. It wasn't like it wasn't in like a dismissive way. This was kind of like, oh, well, this is how I
It
can
was,
view it.
I guess a quick overview, I guess, of
Yeah,
somebody, if you want
yeah,
to explain to somebody. I'm
yeah.
not a big fan of Lil Bill anyway, but that's another topic for another
Ooh.
day. Uh, but I like it a lot. I think it fits. It's another piece to the Tyler puzzle, right? Like he still has the rah 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 ratata energy from Goblin, but then it's got the introspection of Wolf, and then it's got like the cherry bomb exploration with the music, and then it's got like the Flower Boy vulnerability. It's got the sonic appeal of Igor, and it's still got like the rapping of Call Me When You Get Lost. So I feel like it's like another good addition to already a very deep, well put together catalog. I think he's one of the last artists left in hip hop that gets the idea of spectacle, and he gets like the idea of like rollout. He's like the full package, right? Like he understands like, okay, you need an idea for this album. You need a title. You need like a captivating cover. You need um a video or images. Like he understands all that at such a next level, and it's very rare to see now with some of these artists in hip hop, particularly because they don't really know what they're doing. They don't really have, I guess, the A&R. They don't have the development. But Tyler's been doing this for a very long time. He also really loves his culture. He loves the spectacle and the competition and all that comes with hip hop. He loves that shit. So he's
Mm.
gonna craft it like so. Like I say Kendrick, uh to lesser effects, J. Cole, Drake, uh Travis Scott kind of still get that spectacle part of rap where it comes to like the images and the cover and all that stuff that comes with it. But
Dochi,
Tyler is like, Dochi gets it too. Uh, but Tyler gets it on that level of like a Kanye, or
Tierra.
other Tierra, yeah, other hip hop artists who understand that it's a game you got to play, and especially now you have to like even people who wouldn't give it a listen, kind of got to like get them in somehow by having like moments on the album like Sticky, like it's a fun song, but it's like a surprise because it's got like all these features on it, but somehow they all come together and it makes sense, right? And then he knows his fan base too, so he has his moments like typical Tyler moments, like Noid and Rata and stuff like that. But also, he shows his vulnerable sides with like, Hey Jane, Judge Judy, is it Darling I or I Darling? Um,
Darling Eye.
right. And he's just so good at crafting songs and he's good at crafting albums. He's really one of the last few hip hop artists left that's good at crafting like a listening experience. Um, and that just goes to his passion for the industry, his passion for the culture, and him just knowing that it takes more than just the ability to rap, or it takes more than just a catchy hook, or it takes more than just, I don't know, just lightning in a bottle to be successful at that level. Um, and I was really impressed with it. I remember when I saw the snippet for it, I was just curious about what the hell is this? What's up with the hair? What's up with the mask? And he still
Mm.
hasn't explained none of that shit. And I don't think he will. It's just up to you to interpret. And also, it's just something that catches your imagination, something that catches your eye. You like, what's going on? And then, oh, it's Tyler dropping. So he's getting better. At each album, he's like raised the level of curiosity and spectacle. Like, I want to say it probably started with maybe Flower. Well, it kind of started with Goblin when he dropped Yonkers, because that was just like, what the fuck? Like the whole him rapping and eating roaches, and then at the end of the video he hung himself. Um, and he still kind of has that, but it got better and calmer throughout the years. I think with Flower Boy, he kind of like realized I need to maybe chill out some with that, like the shock rap and the antics, and kind of like maybe show I have more diversity as far as my music and my ability to make music. And you
Mm.
got more slow tempo songs. You got more songs with him singing. And then with Igor, that was really him lifting the spectacle side of his music. The blonde wig and the
Mm.
the the blue suit, and then just the album cover. Like Igor is just him fully getting into his bag of visuals and imagery. So I really like Tyler as an artist. I think he's really grown into one of the most reliable artists in hip hop right now. Like when I know a Tyler album's coming, I know it's going to be of a certain quality. I know I'm going to have an enjoyable experience. There's going to be a ride. And very few hip hop artists can give you that ride aspect now. It's just a bunch now, so many artists rap wise just give you a bunch of random songs that feel thrown together and they have to meet a certain quota for streaming purposes. Tyler doesn't feel like that because I think he understands the context and the value of an album of music, or what an album is supposed to feel like, at least to him. So, all in all, I really like the album in
Mm.
a long winded way.
Yeah. I know what the title. I was just to another podcast. They were talking about it. It could be a reference to Chromakopia. It could be a reference to this condition or this phobia people have of color, which could explain why the little short videos they post on Instagram, a lot of them are they're like kind of that sepia tone before they like explode in the color at certain points. Which that's like another theme of the album. Another theme of the album is like sort of like trying to find your voice or your true self and sticking to that. This seems to be a
Oh
recurring
yeah,
theme. Yeah. So
like
what
take off your
what
mask.
take off your mask. Yeah, that's one definitely one. Or even like I hope you find your way home. So, yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, I enjoy the album a lot though. I'm glad Tyler dropped in the time he did. It was a good moment. It's a good way to end, I guess, like Q4 album wise and hip hop because he was due for another album by now. He usually drops albums like every 2 years, 2 to 3
Hmm.
years. So he was due for a drop. And like I said, he's one of the last left that can just give you an enjoyable listening experience, that can give you a spectacle, and give you just a ride in hip hop. Like even Drake can't do that now. Drake, he can give you the spectacle. He can give you, sometimes with the album cover, a sense of curiosity, like, what am I about to experience when I press play? But like the overall experience, no. Like the ride, no. That's he's lost that ability, or the even lost that desire to try to do that.
Hmm.
Um, but Tyler still gets it, and I wonder, I wonder how long did it take him to really come up with this project to do it? I'm sure he'll explain all that later, but like I said, he knows how to really construct a full body of work. And that's like a lost art in hip hop right now, at least on a mainstream level.
Yeah.
But I'm excited though. I'm excited for him. Like, he has a tour coming up.
Hmm.
He's in full project mode. So I think that's good for the industry to have him back and making projects like this.
Yeah, hopefully it inspires because I know some of these talked about where you could be referring to what you were talking about as far as like other artists not having that ability. He's said in multiple interviews that a lot of artists now just look at the music as just a means to make money. They only look at it as like a way to as a come up, and that's it. They don't look at it. They don't take it as an art form, you know. And so that's probably why he's one of few artists that take this sort of 360-degree approach to the music to a project to where it's the music and the visuals and the videos and the lyrics and the concept, uh, because he takes it as an art form, whereas like a lot of artists are more than few artists that he's referred to don't. So
Hmm. Yeah, I feel that.
because I wonder who we was talking about at the end of take your mask off that last verse. He was getting at somebody. He didn't name no names, but
You think so? I think that is quite the observation. That is humorous. I think so too. I don't know who but that is, yeah. That was interesting though. That verse. That whole song is good though. He really knows how to, like, he knows how to just put people in the right places. Like, that was a great use of Daniel Caesar. Uh, so yeah, shout out to Tyler. Hopefully, one day we could get like a Odd Future reunion or something, or compilation or some shit. I don't know, but that mean Frank will have to participate. And, he kind of, Frank is Frank, man. Frank is Frank. So overall, anything else you've seen, watched, experienced that you would like to share?
I don't think. Nope, I don't think anything recent. Oh, there's a podcast I came across recently called Behind the Bastards. If you into terrible people, uh,
Hmm.
they say it's a podcast where they uh delve into the life of a exceptionally shitty person, and they talk about uh they analyze who they kind of do like a I wouldn't say a full like psychoanalysis, but they just talk about their life and maybe the things that drove them and the decisions that they made and why they were terrible and they did like the reason why I heard about it because they had that Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix and
Mm.
someone in the comment section referenced that podcast. I checked it out. They did 6 episodes on Vince, more than they did on like I think Pol Pot or somebody. um and so if you're into bastards, that's a good podcast to watch. I mean listen to. Because woo. Another one I came across recently called One Song, where each episode they break down one song and why it's influential and what's great about it. Certain episodes they'll break up into 2 parts. They did like a two part episode on the Control album, and they had Jimmy Jam on to talk about it. So a good music nerd podcast.
Hmm.
By you,
I watched the current season of Love Is Blind with my sister.
okay.
It was interesting as usual. Uh, it's just a really wild show. It's a wild concept. Are you familiar with the premise of it?
Mm-mm. No.
Uh, so basically, you get a group of men and a group of women, and you put them in a house, and they rotate and date each other. I say date with quotes, and they're
Mm-mm.
basically in these pods where they don't see each other, but they spend several hours talking to each other, and then at the end of like the project, if the two successfully, I guess, talk success like in succession, then typically the man gets on one knee and proposes. And then after he proposes, that person accepts or, declines, and then they reveal what the other person looks like. And after they do that, they take them out the house and they put them basically on a honeymoon or a retreat. And then they leave there and go live with each other. And then they decide if they want to marry each other or not.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty intense. So it's
I
a
could.
marathon of emotions.
I bet.
Um, right. So it makes for some good crash TV, but then it
Mm.
also makes you really question like, are these people mentally okay? Uh, are they being exploited? I mean, they are. Uh, all people who do reality TV are being exploited. Um, but yeah, so it's pretty next level with that.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Did we ever review Dochi's album, or did we? Can't
No, we
remember.
didn't.
Oh man, what a great project!
Mm.
What a really good album. And she's also on Tyler's album.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
she is.
she had a good pro. I call it an album. I know some people say mixtape, but like that's a fucking album. I feel like, but I mean, hey, potato. You know, I'm curious to see what she does as her next project. All
Yeah,
the rap girls had a pretty good year this year. I would say
yeah,
Rhapsody had a good album. Meg had a good album. And I've been pretty hard on Meg the last few years, but I like this one more than the others.
mm.
Lotto had a project which was okay. Um, Tierra Whack, I gotta be honest, the Tierra Whack album disappointed me.
I didn't
I
get a
didn't,
chance. I think I listened to it.
I didn't even finish it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Doshi and just the rap girlies have really delivered this year. Delivered some pretty good projects.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So yeah. Well, folks, that is the latest episode of the Side Eye. We thank you for listening. We thank you for always coming and participating and just being engaging um, listeners. And we thank you.
Oh, and before
We
we go, a quick
okay.
rest in power to Quincy Jones, who passed away earlier this
Oh
week.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said that. Somebody was like, "Did Quincy Jones vote before he died?" I'm like, "Who gives a fuck?" I'm like, "You people are unhinged."
Shoot. Quincy, no, I ain't gonna say it. That's
What you were gonna say?
I was like Quincy probably was like, shit, I gotta get the hell up out of here. They about niggas on some other shit. Probably leave him down like, what's that scene from Color Purple when Mrs. Daddy was like, no, when Sophia came back from her came back to herself, she was like, look, I came back just in time. And the open's like, we need some stability. That's what probably Quincy was like up there, like, like I died just in time. It's like, well, we need some stability up here. uh, but because about supremely talented, influential musician. Obviously, worked with Michael on Thriller and Off the Wall and Bad, but also known for working with Frank Sinatra, Count Basie, um, Sarah Vaughan. You can go down a list, just prolific, influential, uh, in so many, not just in music, but in television. You would have Fresh Prince without him. Uh, Involved with movies like The Wiz. Um,
Hmm.
helped found Vibe magazine. So a huge force in entertainment and brought us and gave so much. So
Right. Just a literal architect
mhm.
for this culture, for the industry, just yeah, yeah, a architect, man. And
Mhm.
one who will be truly missed. Uh God, yeah, yeah. Great talent, man. Great mind, great. They got a lot of kids, had a lot of motherfucking kids, but that's
That's
neither here nor
that's it.
there. Oh man, but yeah, a true one of one, for
Mhm.
sure. So rest in power, Quincy Jones. He was a what, 90?
91, yeah.
God damn. It's a long
Full
life.
life. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't say it at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm. Mhm.
Somebody made a post up, so man, it was like one of those posts where like we losing too many legends, and I was like, I get that point, but I'm like, they gotta die someday. Damn. Like, I guess I try not to be harsh when people
But
say
no,
that,
yeah, yeah. It's just
but it's like he was 91 years old. Like,
yeah,
what more could he have done
yeah.
for us? Or the legacy is fulfilled.
Mm.
I'm more like with Chadwick. That was sad, because he was
Yeah.
so young, and uh, I got inspiration from it because he knew of his diagnosis, and instead of like maybe taking proper rest and proper care, he decided to just put it in overdrive and just do his life's work
Yeah.
until he couldn't anymore. But when people like Frankie Beverly, and we lost Frankie Beverly, we lost James Earl Jones, then we lose Quincy Jones. It's kind of like those
James Avery.
people. James Avery, right? Those people live full, rich lives. Just Frankie Beverly literally performed until he physically couldn't anymore. You know, um, just rich lives lived, rich legacies left behind. So I don't feel any sadness in their leaving. Just a sense of admiration, and you just remember what they left behind.
Mm.
But people mourn differently, so I don't say that out loud or on the post, but I just be like, God damn, what more do you want from them? Shit, it's like shit. Sometimes I think that's capitalism too. Sometimes I'm like, you just want them to keep, they just got to keep cranking out shit, huh? Or just like a whip, like shit. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just me though. Don't y'all just? I could be, I guess, would be perceived as a bit insensitive sometimes, but god damn.
Oh, I guess to put it another way, I guess it's the idea of, you think of your favorite artist or whether that's a musician or actor or whoever, and just this the idea that they're out in the world experiencing life, going through whatever it is they're going through, positive or negative, and that they can know that that they'll turn that into something, that will hopefully speak to you. It's that sort of thing of like knowing that person's in the world and they have a certain perspective that is just singular. And once they go, that sort of goes with them, whether that's Quincy or whether that's like a David Bowie or a Michael or a James Brown or a Prince or Tina Turner, any influential artist. I guess that's part of what it is.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree, and I get it. I definitely get it. Truly, truly, truly eventful year.
Mm.
Uh, as we approach to the end of it. Once again, I am Uptown Bobby,
And I'm K. Clark.
and thank you all for listening. Thank you all for always tuning in. Thank you for just existing, and we hope you continue to exist even in these turbulent times. We all we got.
Mm.
Goodbye.